Hey Commanders fans! Things are heating up in Washington, and if you thought last game was just another day at the office, you're wrong. A veteran All-Pro is not happy and has sent a clear warning to the whole team. After the Week 6 loss, the team is looking for accountability and answers. You won't want to miss how this defensive leader is demanding everyone step up. What's really going on inside that locker room? Stick around to find out. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. One of the biggest names on offense has set the record straight. In just 2 words, our star receiver summed up the whole team's feelings. It's no secret the Commanders were on a winning streak, but after falling to one of the toughest teams in the league, things are about to change. How is the team going to respond? And heads up, it's not all bad news. Even though the result wasn't what we hoped for, one of the defensive legends from the opposing team has showered praise on our rookie quarterback. Yeah, you heard that right. The Ravens were impressed with his stellar performance, and they didn't hesitate to say the Commanders are in good hands. But just how far can this young talent go? There's only one way to find out. Subscribe now and make sure you don't miss a thing. Oh, now we're really getting into interesting territory. Let me tell you something. The Commanders have a lot to figure out after this Week 6 loss. And before anyone jumps straight into pessimism, let's break this down with a cool head. Look, Washington had momentum. We all saw it. But going up against the Ravens at their home, with Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP, and Derrick Henry, yes, Derrick Henry, one of the greatest running backs of all time, is no easy task. And even so, the Commanders' offense executed the plan pretty well. Did they have a ground game? Not at all. Without Brian Robinson Jr., things were tough, but Jayden Daniels, ladies and gentlemen, Jayden Daniels is emerging as a star. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's Hall of Fame bound just yet, but who can deny that the kid looks comfortable even in the toughest moments? But hold up. There's one thing we can't ignore, the defense. What a disaster. I'm telling you, the defense was abysmal, and in the NFL, you can't afford that, even if you're up against a powerhouse duo like Lamar and Henry. Now let me ask you, do you really think we'll face another offense as explosive as the Ravens this season? Because I don't. This is where Bobby Wagner steps in. And let me tell you something. Bobby Wagner isn't just any player. We're talking about a Super Bowl champion, a guy who knows what it takes to win. And what does he say after the game? He's not devastated, he's not throwing in the towel. What he's doing is calling for collective accountability. Because of course they made mistakes. Penalties? Tons. Lack of communication? Absolutely. But Wagner made it clear. If every player steps up, we're going to get a lot better. Doesn't that sound like what Dan Quinn has been preaching since he got here as coach? Accountability, solid fundamentals, and unity. That's what this team needs. Washington hasn't had a true winning culture in decades, but I'm telling you, with leaders like Wagner, things can change. And yeah, I know a lot of you are thinking, but we lost. What's the point of all this optimism? Let me ask you, are we or are we not way further along than we thought we'd be by now? Absolutely. This loss doesn't erase all the good work that's been done this season. Is it painful? No doubt. But this is the NFL, and here, there are no moral victories. Only lessons. So, where does that leave us? I'm telling you, this team is learning. And even though Quinn downplayed the importance of this game, we knew it was a big one. But remember, it's still just one of 17. And what matters is moving forward, correcting the mistakes, and not losing confidence. Losing sucks. Those are the 2 words Terry McLaurin fired like a dart to the heart after the loss to the Ravens. And you know what? Let me tell you something. He's absolutely right. Now, let me ask you, how is a team supposed to feel when they've been on a 4-game winning streak and suddenly lose 30-23 in a game where all the expectations were on them? Exactly. Sucks is the word. And McLaurin, who caught 6 passes for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns, summed it up with the honesty and leadership he always brings. Now let me ask you this. Is this loss the beginning of the end for the Commanders? Some of you are already thinking about the ghosts of past seasons, right? But let me tell you this. I don't think so, and you know why? Because McLaurin and this team are built differently. This isn't the same team we've watched struggle year after year. McLaurin made it clear when he said, "We don't have a group of guys that hang their heads. We're excited to get back to work and see how we can improve." Do you see that mindset? That's the mindset of a team that doesn't quit, that keeps fighting despite the setbacks. But hold on a minute. Let's talk about what really matters here. What does this loss mean for the future of the Commanders? Terry McLaurin talked about his coach, Dan Quinn's belief in this group. And let me tell you this, if Quinn believes in this team, you should too. Did you see the look in DQ's eyes? McLaurin described it perfectly. He believes in this group and we believe in ourselves. That, my friends, is what separates teams that crumble under pressure from those that come back stronger. Now, some of you might be thinking, but a loss is a loss. Let me tell you this, yes, losing sucks, but not all losses are the same. Was this a blowout? It wasn't. They were in the fight the whole time. And what we saw was a team that made mistakes, but showed they can compete with the best. We've seen it already. They went to Miami and fought. They faced New York and held their ground. This team doesn't need a measuring stick to know what they're made of. So the real question here is this: what will the Commanders do next week? The Panthers are up next, a team that's 1-5. 1-5. Now I ask all of you, isn't this the perfect chance to bounce back? Isn't this the moment to regain that confidence and prove that this loss doesn't define their season? Here's my prediction. They're going to come out hungrier than ever. The Commanders aren't a team that crumbles in the face of adversity. They have resilience, they have leadership, and they have a guy like Terry McLaurin who doesn't just talk about rising up, he lives it. This team is going to crush the Panthers, and it will be the first step back on that winning path. Now let me ask you all, do you really believe the Commanders are in good hands with Jayden Daniels? Because let me tell you this, when you have a guy like Roquan Smith, one of the best linebackers in the NFL, saying your quarterback is the truth after his team just beat you, that says a lot. And yes, the Ravens won, 30-23, but I'm being honest, this game was much more than just a loss. Jayden Daniels completed 24 of 35 passes, threw for 269 yards, tossed 2 touchdowns, and guess what? 0 interceptions. And he did it against the #1 defense in the NFL when it comes to stopping the run. What more do you want, Commanders Nation? But hold on, the ground game was non-existent. Washington only rushed for 52 yards, and Daniels barely added 22 on the ground. So I ask you, where was the help from the running backs? Because with those numbers, it's clear Jayden is doing everything he can, but this team needs more. Now, let's talk about the respect Daniels has earned. Roquan Smith made it clear. Washington is in good hands with him. Did you hear that? One of the fiercest defenders in the league said it. This guy is not just a passer, he's a warrior. He can run, he can throw, and on top of that, he's tough as nails. He took some big hits in this game, but got up every time, proving what we've known about him since college. Now here's my thought. Is Washington building its future with Daniels the right way? Because, come on, guys, it's one thing to have a talented quarterback, but it's a whole different ball game to surround him with the right pieces. I see it this way. Daniels is doing his job, but what about the ground game? What about the offensive line that needs to protect him better? I'm worried that if we don't improve those areas, we'll be wasting the potential of a quarterback who can take this team far. Now let me tell you this. Washington has something special in Jayden Daniels. That's undeniable. The respect he has earned from players like Roquan Smith isn't something that just gets handed out. Commanders fans, now it's your turn. Do you think this team has the inner strength to overcome this loss and keep pushing toward the playoffs? I see it clearly, but I want to know what you think. Drop your opinions in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going because this is just the beginning. Also, do you think this loss was just a small bump in the road, or could it be the start of something more concerning? Share your thoughts in the comments. Are you backing McLaurin and the team, or are doubts starting to creep in? Come on, Commanders Nation, I want to hear your voices. Finally, I ask you, do you believe we're building around Daniels properly so he can truly succeed? Because it's not just about talent, it's about strategy, protection, and support. That's what separates a legend from an average player. Commanders fans, this is your family and your community. If you haven't done so already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join this growing conversation. Together, let's continue to support the team every step of the way on this journey. And remember, hail to the Redskins.